This is a movie about a bus that has to speed around the city, keeping its speed above 50, and if its speed drops, it explodes. I think it's called The Bus That Couldn't Slow Down. I'm Charles Renton with the retro review of Speed from director Jan de Bont, who ended up doing Twister a couple years after this. Speed 2 Cruise Control talked about a serious goddamn downgrade. Willem Dafoe had a lot of fun in it. But man, that was just not good at all. Then he did The Haunting. It also wasn't very good. I retro reviewed that. And Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life, that had Angelina Jolie as the titular, and boy do we mean titular character, Lara Croft. But yes, Speed. Pretty much helping launch Keanu Reeves into the stratosphere as far as an action star, even though he had been in other stuff before this. Like Bram Stoker's Dracula with one of the worst British accents you've ever fucking heard. Good goddamn grief. This was written by Graham Yost. That almost just sounds like some kind of weird cereal in Europe. I don't know. But he did Broken Arrow. You're Out of Your Mind. Yeah, ain't it cool? Speed 2, Cruise Control, Hard Rain, that really wasn't very good, Mission to Mars, and the TV show Justified. So yes, Keanu Reeves, Dennis Hopper, rest in peace Dennis Hopper. I would argue this is pretty much the peak of his goddamn career, because if you take a look at what he did as far as like movies on IMDb after this, I mean, boy, Land of the Dead might have been the the best role that he had after that, because he was in a lot of schlock. He was in some TV shows, and Dennis Hopper left a hell of a goddamn legacy as far as movies he was in, all the way from Easy Rider all the way through to Speed. The man, this is, again, pretty much the peak of his goddamn powers. I mean, he was in his 70s when he passed away, so it's not like he didn't leave a hell of a legacy. Jeff Daniels, with a bit of a comedic but also an action role. I don't know why that threw me off. And Sandra Bullock, this was the start of her ascent. She would be in The Net a year after this. The Net wasn't very good. I do remember making a double feature of that in 9 months with a girlfriend at the time, and probably should have told me exactly how that relationship would have gone. I kid, of course. I hope she's doing well. That was all the way back when I was 14. My God, time is a goddamn flat circle. We are all soon going to be in goddamn holes in the ground or in an inferno, in a furnace, and we will go on to another plane of existence. But before that, let's talk about Speed. Basically, you have Howard Payne, Dennis Hopper's character, who is bound and determined to get money that he is owed because of, he felt that he got screwed over by the police force. And he's in LA. First, he tries to extort a bunch of money by trapping people in an elevator, but Keanu Reeves is Jack Taven, and Jeff Daniels is Harry. Manage to save all of them by hook or crook, and then it turns out that even though Dennis Hopper blew himself up, he's still alive. A couple years later, he rigs a bus to explode. It does, and he rigs another bus to explode. And Jack is on the case. He must help them. Must help the passengers survive. Eventually find a way to work around Howard's almost seemingly bulletproof plan, and find a way to save everybody involved. It's an action adventure that's a whole lot of fun, and you really got to take the logic. You got to just take the logic part of your brain, pull it out, and throw it the hell over there. Because there's no way a bus could survive even 15% of the shit that it survives here. It's fun, though. This is extremely fun. This movie is coming up on 30 years old, and it's still fun. I mean, sure, there are things that have aged poorly. The cell phone technology, that early 90s computer tech. But the writing is crisp and fun and everything. And Alan Ruck was in this. You may remember him as Cameron Fry in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. A few other people are in this, some notable character actors. But there's a lot of good lines in this. I mean, it's not really fair to try and encompass the plot, because I pretty much just told you the goddamn plot right there. But Dennis Hopper is having a blast here. Keanu Reeves, even though he says his iconic "whoa" line a few times. Sandra Bullock was about to stand out here. She was really good. But basically, we start at the beginning, which is a good way. When we get to the end, we stop, as our Lord and Savior, the Mad Hatter, once said. I did kind of like how we immediately got the shaft in the intro, ha 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 ha, because there was a crowd elevator going slow, as Incubus once said. Dennis Hopper had rigged an elevator to explode, and he was somewhere, he was somewhere around, he was close by. Joe Morton, by the way, who was Dyson, not the vacuum, but the character Dyson in Terminator 2, who really is an unsung hero as far as movies. He's great. He's been terrific in a lot of stuff. He was terrific in some episodes of Law & Order. He's just really, really good. He's a really, really good actor. All praise to Joe Morton. But There's the lines like "Pop quiz, hot shot." You know, you got person holding you got a criminal holding a person hostage, and they're 100 feet away from a terminal. What do you do? What do you do? Shoot the hostage. Make it so they can't take the hostage with them. You wound the hostage, and then that way you have a free shot at the person. And then they're having some more fun lines while they're trying to figure out the explosives on this elevator shaft. Why did I take this job? Oh, come on, just a mere 30 years of this, and you can get a tiny pension and a cheap gold watch. Cool. Whoa. Because Keanu Reeves has to get whoa in so many of his movies. Keanu Reeves is a great guy, by the way. I mean, if you ever read up on him, he'll take time out of his busy schedule for fans. He gave a ton of his salary to the Matrix special effects crew, and also to the people that worked on Cyberpunk, apparently. Because Keanu Reeves is a multi-millionaire, and he's just overall a pretty goddamn good guy. And the fact is, he's at least in his 50s by this point, approaching 60, I think. I'm trying to remember his age, but still making movies, doing, I think John Wick Chapter 4 comes out pretty goddamn soon. Probably will be the last chapter, because I don't know how much more they could do with that franchise. But, then, the elevator, it's a pretty good series of action scenes. We had the first part with the elevator, second part with the bus, and then we have another part with the subway. So it's layered and everything, and you give a good little bit to the characters. Even though, in all honesty, a lot of them are just fodder to yell and panic and, oh my god, we're going to die. And all the cops are at the bottom, and they think the elevator's going to fall. Usually they fall down now. Which, I don't know why that made me laugh. And they manage to get everybody out of the elevator. But when they figure out, oh, this guy's still somewhere there, they get onto the freight elevator. Well, he's got a shotgun, because why the hell wouldn't he? He manages to capture Jeff Daniels because he falls through the roof because John McClane did not reinforce the roof. Damn you, John McClane! You probably shouldn't say that given what Bruce Willis is going through currently. But Keanu Reeves, and Howard, even though they don't know his name at that point, have a bit of a verbal spat. It's Hopper with a shotgun instead of Hobo with a shotgun. And, oh, what do you do? What do you do? And Jeff Daniels says, shoot the hostage. So he does, but then seemingly Dennis Hopper blows up, except he doesn't. 2 years later, seems like everything's going good. Awards are given out. It seems like all this stuff's good. Oh my god, Dennis, well, actually, it's sometime later, because actually 2 years of planning the whole elevator job is where the 2-year deal came up. But sometime later, Dennis Hopper decides, I'm going to get revenge on you guys. So a bus goes boom, bada boom. And then, bus goes 50. If it drops, it explodes. I want to know what bus that is. Well, I'll tell you that, Jack, but nobody gets off the bus. I won $3.7 million by 11 a.m. So the music is kind of silly, but jaunty, and, it gets your blood pumping. He manages to steal the guy's Jaguar, or the Commandeer guy's Jaguar, and gets on the bus. Of course, the guy does make a sign. He writes on the sign, bomb on bus, and the guy starts, slow down, no 50, keep it above 50, whoa. And from there, they have to drive through rush hour traffic. They have to basically drive through the city, almost hitting people. One funny exchange between Sandra Bullock's character, Annie. Annie, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? I have my driver's license revoked for what? Speeding? Ha 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 ha. Hold on, lady driver coming through. That'll guarantee no women will be watching the rest of this review. And then this Sam, by the way, was the bus driver. Not only did he make the pants too long, as a reference I will continue to shoehorn in, but he got shot by this one guy that was seemingly a criminal. You may recognize the guy that was the criminal. Check out his IMDb. A little bit of an Easter egg there, because I can't spoil everything. And there, Alan Ruck is on the phone telling the captain what Keanu Reeves is saying. The bomb has a cheap gold watch, and oh fuck me, oh darn is what he translates. There's enough C4 here to put a hole in the world. And no bus would survive the amount of shit that they're going through. The early 90s computer tech. Harry wants them to investigate cops because they know this guy knows so much about the diffusing bombs. It turns out it's people that collect might be collecting pensions because this guy actually was missing a thumb. And it turned out to be Howard Payne. Kind of fitting. Howard Payne, they don't have cool names like that for villains in movies anymore. It's just really good. Howard Payne. It just rolls on. It sounds like something you would see as a late, an early 90s WCW or WWF jobber. If you're a non-wrestling fan, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But then they're going to try to get the people up. Well, Sam, because he's injured, in addition to making the pants too long, they decide to get him off the bus. There's one other woman, Helen, panics and tries to get off that, but Dennis Hopper blows a step, and she tumbles under the wheels. Right before that, Alan Ruck says, well, your taxes pay their salary. We die, they got to take a pay cut. And then there's one guy named Ortiz where Keanu Reeves says to him, Gigantor, Ortiz. Okay, Ortiz, help me get Sam off the bus. It's just before that. And then after that, they're, Joe Morton and co, they're on a flat trailer trying to, reason or trying to get information to Keanu Reeves. And says to Jack, hey, there's a piece of the freeway missing up ahead. When it's finished on the map, oh, you're fired. Everybody's fucking fired. Good Lord, you're fired. Boom. True Lies. Check out that retro view. I think that's actually on Peacock or Hulu. Check that out because True Lies is really fun. Came out the same year as this. So they managed to jump a near 50-foot, if not over 50-foot, open space on a freeway. Bullshit. No bus would do that. The bus was leaning like that. I mean, obviously, yes, takes the logic and just hurled out the goddamn window, but it's so ridiculous. They managed to get to the airport. Keanu Reeves gets off the bus, only to get on a panel and go under the bus via a cable to try and defuse the bomb. But then that ends up snapping, so he has to stab a screwdriver that he was using into the gas tank, so now they're losing gas. He gets back on the bus. Everybody's happy until they realize they're losing gas. So he's like, I need a fuel truck. Well, it's going to be a bit. Wait, I have an idea. Joe Morton goes over to this one guy and says, hey, wait a second. You say there's a camera there, Jack? Well, let's find a way to loop some footage into there. Or to loop footage into the security cam footage because that's how Dennis Hopper is keeping an eye on them. Because he referenced Annie being a Wildcat. Her sweater had Arizona Wildcat right behind him. He's been playing him this whole time. They decide to turn the tables and play with Dennis Hopper. Gross. They decide to play with the pain. It's a price to pay. But they don't get down on their knees today, and nobody gets that. No goddamn person gets that. They loop some footage, and Dennis Hopper doesn't notice, but unfortunately they only have a minute of footage, and this one lady kept removing her purse. And it didn't loop correctly. Had they had a few minutes of footage, they might have been able to get away with it. Also, during this whole damn thing, Harry and co. go to Dennis Hopper's house, Howard Payne's house, but it's ready to explode, and explodes. So Harry dies, Jack's pissed, they come up with the footage idea, and then they get off the bus explodes after dropping below 50 and hitting an airplane. Oh well, no big loss there. And they surf to safety, as it were, and of course, Annie says, oh, you're not getting mushy on me. Are you? Well, maybe. But I just want to warn you, relationships that start under intense circumstances rarely last. And that comes back to play a little bit later. Dennis Hopper's pissed. He's going to get his money, but he takes Annie hostage. Why? Because he's pissed. He's pissed that he didn't get his way, even though he got his money. So they got the money. He has Annie. He says, pop quiz, hotshot, you got a hair trigger aimed at your head. What do you do? What do you do? Turn around. Turn around. And it's Annie rigged with explosives. And Dennis Hopper seems to have it all figured out. They're underground. They're to the subway tunnels. And he mentions, oh, cheap gold watch, all this. And, poor people are crazy. I'm eccentric. And then they get on the subway. Dennis Hopper opens the bag, but a paintball goes off, a paint, bomb. So it splatters the money, so you can't use it. Now he's freaking out because he knows Jack is up there on the roof and is shooting at him. And he just manages to get somehow up there on a moving train. Oh, by the way, the train conductor got shot because of course he goddamn did, because we need more speeding shit in this movie. And then he's fighting with Keanu Reeves, but he can't let go of the hair trigger thing, the little handle deal, or otherwise Annie will explode because she's rigged with explosives. So Keanu's fighting him. doing all this, and Dennis Hopper's like, I'm going to beat you because I'm smarter. And then he pushes his head up, and Dennis Hopper's head gets taken off. It's such an obvious dummy. It's so funny. It's so fucking funny. But he says, yeah, well, I'm taller. Because Keanu Reeves can get away with that shit. He's been getting away with it for like 30 fucking years. It's hilarious. It's goddamn hilarious. And then he can't free Annie, can't stop the train, so, there's more construction that isn't done, because apparently LA is always under construction. And he jumps the tracks, the train crashes out through this tunnel area, very, very obvious models right there, but then again, mid-90s, they come to a stop, and then, of course, they make out because it's intense, and he says, I must warn you, have, relationships that start under intense circumstances rarely last. She's like, well, we'll have to base it on sex. Okay. I wouldn't turn it down, would you, Sandra Bullock? I wouldn't. But anyway, then that ends, and that's it right there. It's fun. Speed is fun. Speed is a lot of fun. It's still so fun after almost 30 goddamn years. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retland. I'll see you soon.